still see that people are...
I'm speaking today with Alan Dow, president of Logility. Alan, welcome.
Thank you.
Here we are at Logility Connections 2017 with some interesting issues flying around the conference rooms, one of which, as I understand it, and of great concern to you, is supply chain talent. Tell me what's going on in that area. What are your customers telling you is their pain point with regard to that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's been a topic for the last 4 or 5 years probably in this area, but it seems to really be taking hold now where people are starting to feel the consequences of that situation. There's an ever-present need to draw people into the organization. In some cases, folks that are in the supply chain space are moving on, but with the proliferation of the supply chain challenges that are happening around the data and the speed of products going to market, there's a need for more people and more specific skill sets in the supply chain space.
Does it start with the generational issue that some of the previous generation is the so-called baby boomers are retiring and they're not being replaced with millennials and others?
Well, I think they're being replaced with millennials and others, but you're absolutely correct. There is a retirement wave that's moving through, but also that replacement is the folks come in with a different attitude and approach. They want to interact differently. They want a different experience. They want different kind of systems and technologies that they interact with. And they want to go and move on and have a new experience within a relatively short time period.
But what is required of them by their prospective employers is different as well, is it not? What do companies need in supply chain talent today that they didn't necessarily need before?
Well, they need some skills around analytics and understanding what's happening in the data. They need to be able to quickly get them to understand the business impacts of the supply chain and be able to enable them to make good decisions. So I think what people today are seeing is that those folks are going to be business analysts more than supply chain professionals.
Companies talk all the time about the challenges of data visibility, data accuracy, and propagating that data upstream, downstream, and within the organization. Where are the big pain points as you understand it, and what are some of the solutions you see coming down the pike?
Yeah, there are a couple of areas. So first of all, today we still see that people are very manual in their interactions with data. They're capturing data in Excel spreadsheets. They're gathering that data up and they're trying to bring it in and use it. They're also getting emails or getting phone calls. And then there's the whole big world of, it's called big data and the social networks, and the ability to find out information. And some very interesting dialogue today. You can go mine that data, you can learn what's going on out there, but then you have to figure out, can I even use that information, that knowledge, and act on it? Or is it so short term there's nothing I can do? Mm-hmm. So it's a different dynamic.
Yeah, but companies have ERPs, enterprise resource planning systems. Isn't that enough?
Inside data. Think about that. The ERP is sales, product information, financial information, very much backward looking. It's what did happen. Doesn't really help you a lot with what's going to happen or what's happening right now. It's really historical information. So how do we leverage that data to move forward? How do we capture new sources of information? And how do we mine that information to really start to impact how do I act?
And it really takes data to drive S&OP, sales and operations planning initiatives today, does it not?
It does, absolutely. Yeah, and I think one of the big themes we're seeing in S&OP today is there's still an argument around the data. Where did your data come from? Is it different from my data? Your conclusions about the data. And the real initiative today that's come about is how do we get that all into one common system, an enterprise system, that has one set of data, that has different perspectives, financial information that the finance team can look at, unit information supply chain can look at, sales information that the sales can look at. It's kind of financial data. But it's one common layer that everyone can see the information from and agree that the base data is okay, that it's trustworthy, and that we can act on it.
Well, we won't exchange birth certificates, but I think both of you and I have been in this business long enough to have heard these same complaints about data visibility and access and organizational structure for years.
Right.
What makes you think now is the time when we will finally start solving those problems?
Well, the volume is coming at them so much more quickly now. The amount of data that's coming in that they have to react to is just overwhelming. And the speed of the supply chain is really changed dramatically with omni-channel initiatives, the intelligent customer that all of us go shopping and you pull out your smartphone and you do some research on the fly. That's changed it. So the people who will figure out how to deal with that data and leverage it for knowledge, transform that into action, will be the winners.
Are we getting there with unstructured data? You mentioned social media. Structured data is one thing, but this massive inchoate, unstructured stuff out there, can we get our hands around that yet, or is it still a challenge to be made for the future?
There's a bit of art in there, but there's some science that's getting applied to help the art. I think what we're also seeing is today most of that work is being done in a separate structure, separate organization, separate talent pool. And we're starting to see some of the results of some of the knowledge, some of the results of mining of that data starting to come back in. It's not part of the normal business day in and day out operations today, but it's influencing the direction that people are having. So yeah, it's having an impact.
Your customer base ranges across multiple verticals.
Yes.
Could you say any one of them is more advanced than the others in terms of achieving some of these things we've been talking about?
I think the consumer goods space is still leading that, and it's driven by the pace at which those products move through the marketplace. If you think about food products, it has a shelf life. It has it's very, very dynamic. You think about apparel and fashion goods, or maybe even electronics. I mean, they're really trying to get their hands around this information because it's happening real time for them.
Yeah. What do you think the challenge of tomorrow would be based on where we are today? Where will we be in 5 years? What will be your big concerns about things that still need to be addressed that we're not quite getting our arms around yet?
Well, I think this concept of analytics is a big part of what has to get tackled. And what we're thinking about is it practical or reasonable for us to expect that our customers can tackle that on their own? We have to enable that with technology, but we probably also should be enabling it with a new level of services and a level of expertise to augment what they're doing and make it part of their supply chain. I think we can help them with that. Leverage that, accomplish that, and now we can make the business analysts, we talked about that new millennials that are folding into the organization, now we can make we can enable them to make good decisions about the business. I think that's an important step.
All the while, as you say, level of expertise, all the while getting the word out to the younger generations about the importance and the availability of a career in supply chain.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a few universities that are really mastering that. The programs are starting to swell, but it's still a few. Mm-hmm. And when we have an opportunity to speak to students that are pre-college years even, or certainly in college, we start to tell them about how exciting this is because you really are part of the business. Mm-hmm. It's an exciting field to be in.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, but we've come a long way, you feel?
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, and I think a testament to that is the fact that turnover I spoke about is because inside of companies, they see the value of those individuals that have come through the supply chain organization are the leaders of the company in the future, and they're moving on to new experiences. So yeah. It's a great testament to their skill sets.
Well, let's hope that those who take over from us pick up the ball and keep running with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan, thank you so much for joining us, talking a little bit about the big challenges out there for your customers, and thanks for having us here at Logility Connections 2017. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks. I've been speaking with Alan Dow of Logility. Thank you very much for watching.